move back a bit. Let the lady pass the face.
Hang on. Can we just get this lady disabled? Sorry.
Yay.
There's a lady in a wheelchair who's about to get
Hiya. Oh my goodness, hello.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Sorry you couldn't get a picture of it. She's very welcome.
Nice to meet you. It's gonna be like my second time on the voting.
Okay.
It's the way you do it. Yeah. It's not doing it or not doing it. Once you've done it, it's the way you've done it.
It's all based on.
I try to move them up. I try to move them up.
Right.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, not moving things before the camera. We might have that conversation. You can always tell when someone wants to basically bring gender off, and I can see people doing that, so I just try to push it.
But it's all gone well, it seems.
Yeah, thank you very much for that.
No
I
worries.
think the problem was the radio mic more than the speaker.
I think it
The
probably
radio mic just did not go through the crowd of people on their mobile phones. So
I think that's the
apologies
No.
for that. Has he left with my mic?
I mic'd him up anyway.
No, somebody picked it
No,
up.
I dropped it and then Emma dropped it off.
Okay.
It's still.
It's with somebody that's
But we radio mic'd him anyway, so TV's got it. So.
Great, thank you.
No worries. Right, there you go.
Oh, cheers, David. Thanks, mate. I just thought he's gone off with it. Never see that again. But no, it's fine. No worries.
This is on, right? Look, 1 second.
Hi.
We good? 1 sec, maybe.
Hello, you're right. Hello. You doing? You okay?
Good. How are you?
Very good. We're just going down here to unveil our advertising van. Thank you. Hi, right.
Oh, you alright?
Yeah.
You won't take your Brexit policy yet, sir?
Thank you. Hi. Hello. How are you? How's it all
Nice
going?
to see you. How
Lovely.
are you
How's it
doing?
going? Is Alex here as
Yeah, Alex is here. Lillian's speaking at a picket line, but she'll be here.
Oh, there, you're right. Let me see, you're right. Thank you. Hi. 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 The green, good. How you doing? You're
I'm
right.
all right.
Are you
Very
saying
good.
something
Yeah,
as well?
I'll join
Come-
you up
come
there.
on.
Yeah.
How are you? Doing well?
Thank you.
Welcome, Jeremy, welcome.
Oh,
How are you?
all the way from Walthamstow.
How are you?
I'll come up when.
Hello, everyone. Wow, look at these crowds.
Hello, mate.
I'm Nadia Wickham. I'm your Labour candidate for Nottingham East. Just over the road. Comrades, it's the greatest honour on behalf of all the Labour candidates in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire to introduce and to welcome the next Prime Minister, Jeremy Corbyn.
Good morning, everyone. Looks like John McDonnell making a speech to me. Thank you all for coming, and it's great to be here with Alex and Nadia, and I know Lillian's coming and others are coming along a bit later. We're unveiling this board here today. It's a bit hard to see because there's so many people around it, but it's got a picture of somebody on the right looking well fed and comfortably off, who is apparently supporting billionaires. I'll leave you to guess who that is. And on the other side it says money in your pockets with Labour. Some of you will have seen the Channel 4 programme. 4 million children in Britain living in poverty. 137,000 children with nowhere safe to live for sure this Christmas. Food banks running out of food and making desperate appeals to try and get more in. And many people trying to struggle on universal credit, can't pay their bills. And 1 million people on 0 hours contracts who don't know what their wage is going to be from one week to the other. And they say there's not a choice in politics. There is a very, very clear choice. In 2010, the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats made a choice. They could have invested in the future. They could have funded education properly. They could have funded social care and mental health services properly. They could have maintained that system of benefits and indeed improved them, because even then they needed improvement. What did they do? They made a very specific choice on their behalf, which was to cut services supplied by local government, to freeze benefits, to freeze public sector wages, to treble university tuition fees, to even charge people for taking an employment case to a tribunal. And we've had 9 years of this austerity. 9 years when David Cameron said, we're all in it together. Excuse me, since 2010, the number of billionaires in Britain has grown to 150. The number of people living in absolute poverty has increased. The gap between the richest and the poorest has got bigger and bigger and bigger. And they say our manifesto is not affordable. I simply say this: as a country, can we go on like this any longer? Can we go on? Can we go on with more poverty, more inequality? Can we go on with this sort of process? Our manifesto, carefully prepared, carefully costed, all of it carried out, would merely get us to the level of public service provision of France or Germany. That's how far backward we've gone in this country, thanks to the coalition governments that we've had. Our manifesto offers real hope, real opportunity and real change. And I want you all to recognise the importance of this election. 8 days to go, 8 days to make a decision on who you want to be your MP, who you want to be in government, who you want to be campaigning to change things and be on your side. And if anything sums up this Tory government more than anything else, it's their treatment of our National Health Service. The National Health Service is Labour's proudest achievement. In all the rubble at the end of the Second World War, it was a Labour government that had the principles and the ambition to say we were elected to bring in a National Health Service, and that is what we will do. Healthcare free at the point of use. And every day there's a different excuse as to why the documents I revealed last week somehow or other have to be challenged. First of all, they said they didn't believe them, and then I pointed out they were printed by the government themselves. Then they said they were printed by Russians. That took them a few days to do that. They've no evidence whatsoever of that. And then they've said there was no discussion of the sort I said in the documents. Well, in all the hundreds of pages of it, it is very, very clear. One, our NHS is on the table on trade talks with the USA. Two, the patents of medicines will be extended into this country, and that costs us a lot of money. Three, they will go for investor state protection, which in other words is protecting American pharmaceutical companies coming into Britain. And fourthly, they said very clearly in none of our talks is there to be any discussion about climate change or climate emergency in trade arrangements. Sorry, this is nonsense. So I wrote yesterday to President Trump just to say, so he's aware of it before we take office, that any future trade agreement with the United States will not include any of our public services. And that is how it's going to be. A Labour government elected next week, determined to redress the gap between the richest and the poorest. A Labour government determined to give young people chance, hope and opportunity in our society, so they don't have to go into debt to get an education. They do get, through our National Education Service, the apprenticeships they need and deserve, the university courses they need and deserve, the youth centres they need and deserve, youth workers that they need and deserve, and real support for those going through a mental health crisis in our society, and a Labour government determined to deal with the housing crisis. They often say to me, what's your first priority when you take office? There's many, 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 of course there are. But number one for me, end rough sleeping homelessness once and for all in this country. And so, do everything you can in the next 8 days and give yourself an early Christmas present on December the 13th, a Labour government and Labour MPs. Robin Hood had the right idea. He had the right idea, and from Nottingham we learned the lesson. He was a friend of the poor, and he wanted a better society. Labour is on the side of the many, not the few. Thank you very much. Do you want to say a word, anybody else? you want to say a word, Alex? Okay. And do the work campaigning, please. Thank you very much. Alex, thanks for coming along. Great. I was told to be brief in my speech.
We got there. Yeah,
No, it's fine.
sure.
Yeah. It's going well. The numbers of people coming out are phenomenal. It's more than 2017.
Just 1 second.
You look as though you're expanding.
I am. I'm hoping you're going to secure his future.
When's it due?
End of the month.
This is for the next one.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Chris Gagnon.
Because you are hope.
I wouldn't say it otherwise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you okay now? Better?
No, but I'm getting there. So
Have
thank
you got a lot of friends around you?
I have people.
That's the important thing.
But yeah, I was told today that on the 13th of December, talks are starting with my GP surgery for it to be sold off.
That's no good.
So,
but
you're giving me hope.
Make sure you've got friends around you as well.
Yeah,
It's
thank
important.
you.
Thank you.
Sir, can I take your hand?
Hello.
A photo with you, sir. Ranger. Thank you,
Sure.
thank you.
Sure. Let's do this.
Thank you.
Are you which camera are you?
We'll go around.
Oh, you're doing around there. Sorry, I didn't realise.
Can you just give us a second, because what we're going to do is we just have to put the full clip.
Sorry, Jeremy, it's connected to that
Yeah,
guy
sure.
Cost of living is a story.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Ms Corbyn, you said you wanted to speak to President Trump yesterday. Why did you not manage to?
He wasn't at the part of the reception I was at. He was having a discussion with other people, so I didn't have an opportunity to speak to him.
How hard did you try?
I wanted to speak to him, but it wasn't possible.
What would have been the point of telling him to keep the NHS off the table when he's already said that that's not part of any trade deal?
It was not so long ago he said the NHS was part of the deal, and it can't be both things. And if it is off the table, then why is it still included in all the talks? Why did they continue for months having these discussions with the NHS totally on the table? And if we hadn't exposed that last week, I suspect this discussion wouldn't even be happening.
Isn't it slightly embarrassing that you said publicly what you wanted to say to him and then you didn't actually manage to say
Not
it?
in the slightest, absolutely not in the slightest. Because I've made my view absolutely clear, and I will continue to make that clear, and the Labour government will not be allowing our National Health Service to be undermined by international trade agreements.
Do you think it's important to have good relations with President Trump if you became Prime Minister?
It's important to have good relations with all countries, and of course that includes President Trump, yes.
And how would you do that?
I'd go and meet him, as I would any other leader, work out issues that we agree on and try and persuade him on both trade issues and particularly on climate change and the importance of the Paris Climate Change Accords and COP26, which we'll be hosting in Britain next year, and hope we can go further than Paris, because we cannot go on allowing global warming to carry on at this rate, otherwise we're all at risk.
You are saying today that Labour would save families £6,700. These are fantasy figures, aren't they?
No, absolutely sensible, realistic figures. We increase the basic wage by bringing in a living wage of £10 an hour. We end universal credits, and we control rents in the private rented sector. And all this adds up to an improvement in the living standards of the very poorest people in this country. We have 4 million children living in poverty, 137,000 children with no permanent home to live in. This is simply not right in the fifth richest country in the world.
But you haven't been clear how much your higher taxes would hit families.
We've been very clear that nobody earning under $80,000 a year will pay any more in tax or national insurance, and that corporation tax will go up, but no more than 26%, which is actually lower than it was in 2010, and that won't all happen straight away. It will happen over a period. We're very clear that there has to be proper investment in the future of our country. Proper investment in education, in health and in housing, and of course in infrastructure, to bring the jobs to areas that have had very little investment for a very long time.
But taxing companies more heavily would hit people in terms of wages, prices or pensions.
26% corporation tax is less than in France, less than in the USA, and as I said, lower than it was in 2010. It is, in my view, for the larger companies perfectly bearable. It would not apply to those with a turnover of less than 300,000. They would have a lower rate.
Do you think NATO keeps the UK more secure?
I think NATO is an alliance that is important to be part of, and we are obviously members of it. I want to work with other NATO countries, and I took the opportunity of meeting representatives of many countries last night to discuss issues of tensions with Russia and tensions in Syria at the present time, and surely all the countries can work together to try and bring about a reduction in those tensions.
And do you think it keeps the UK more secure?
We are secure when we have lower tensions with neighbours, so obviously working with people all across Europe and the USA helps to do that.
And NATO helps do that?
Well, NATO we are members of. It was created after the Second World War, and it's changed its focus. I want it to be a focus that helps to bring about understanding and lowering of tensions around the world. And discussion with the French and others, I think there is quite a lot of discussion going on in that direction at the present time.
You used to say that it should be disbanded. What made you change your mind?
Our party is committed to remaining part of NATO, but it's also what we do in NATO and what NATO does itself that's important, and that's why I make the point about the need for criticism of human rights abuses wherever they occur, including in Russia, but also an understanding with other countries so that we do reduce those tensions and we don't recreate the tensions of the Cold War.
And what made you personally change your mind on NATO?
I have always been in favour of a policy of détente and lowering of tensions, and we have decided we will remain in NATO as a party, and that's it.
In 2011 you said it was a danger to world peace. Have you changed that view?
In 2011 I thought the direction NATO was going was a wrong one. I've had discussions with many people, and I want to see a reduction in tensions around the world, because we cannot go on developing in the concept of an arms race. There has to be a process of recognising the real threats in this world are actually terrorism, cybersecurity, and of course the climate crisis that affects all of us, and I think we can all play a part in dealing with those issues.
So I'm just trying to understand, do you think NATO now contributes to world peace?
I think we'll have to contribute to world peace through NATO and any other alliance, principally through the United Nations.
Thank you. It's a week to go till the election. Why do you think your campaign hasn't taken off yet?
Taken off? We've got more people working in our campaign than ever before. We've got thousands of volunteers out all the time campaigning for Labour. We're gaining a lot of party members, and we're getting that message out there that there is an alternative here. The alternative is, do we invest for the future, or do we continue down this terrible road of greater gap between the richest and poorest in our society and simply saying nothing can be done about it? Our campaign offers hope to people, and I'm very proud of that. Thank you.
Just one final thing. ITV Central couldn't send a crew. We just asked a generic question about campaigning the East Midlands or something.
Okay.
So, oh yeah, sorry, what was that?
Why are you campaigning in the East Midlands today?
Well, I'm campaigning in all parts of the country, and today I'm in the East Midlands. I'm delighted to be here in the wonderful city of Nottingham with Robin Hood just behind me, and I'm going to Mansfield and other places as I've been to many times over the past 4 years, and we're fighting very hard to gain seats, to win, to get a Labour government, and the road to a Labour government lies through the East Midlands.
Thank you very much.
Hello, how are you? Cheers, mate. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
Okay, JC.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just mind your leg.
Alan! Oh, how are you? How are you, my dears? Oh, lovely to see you, mate. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, just.
I'm Maureen MacDonald. I work in a drug service, clean slate. Get in, please, and come and help us.
Thank you.
But if you want to come behind,
let's do that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think
Where do you want me?
I'm part of URM Radio at the University of Nottingham, and I just wanted to ask.
We just have to do this thing.
Then we're doing a second, yeah? What are we doing here, David?
Right, so we just get behind, and we're going to position here.
Where do you want me, David?
guys, we need you off the statue for this one.
Yeah, cheers. If you could just have you off from there, yeah? And if you want, if people want to be in the shot as well, then get behind.
No, it won't be.
I think we need to. Everyone needs to take a few steps backwards.
Ladies and gents, take 2 or 3 steps back.
Oh, you're up there.
Me and my mate.
Just move your back just a little bit, madam. Sorry, we just need to get a picture.
Okay, together collectively.
Back, girls. Move back a little bit. And
You okay, guys?
Bit more back to the sky. Everyone take a few steps back. There's everyone. You all like together.
this lady here is in Jeremy.
You want me to fall off or something? I don't want to go falling off Robin Hood, do I? Should we have a chair for Robin? He's done good. He's been here a long time, you know. Thanks a lot, mate. Thanks.
Yeah, got a tough time.
But we're going to do it.
Well, I hope so.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, you've got a campaign, mate. You've got a campaign.
I know. I'm doing plenty of that. Are you okay now?
Yeah. Okay.
David, what's happening now?
That's it, Jeremy. We're going to go now.
Can I say thanks very much, everybody? Well, 8 days to go. Let's go out and win it. All right. Thank you. Oh, okay.
Labour councillors.
Oh, do you want a picture with Robin Hood behind us?
Yeah.
Labour councillors over here, please.
Yeah. Might as well.
Are you all big in Nottingham City Council?
All Labour councillors.
Well, you have to be big to be a Labour councillor.
Well, yeah. Big on good policies, Jeremy.
I think
I've got a Sharpie if they'd like.
You all need to be here very quickly and very much now.
Hold still a minute.
Abby.
A-B-B-Y.
Oh, yeah.
Just sign in this one.
Okay. So this is just councillors, yeah?
Yeah, just councillors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mike wants to come in. Whoever's... Yeah.
Decisions you had to take a long time ago, but you've done well.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yay! Acid.
Okay.
Take one.
Sorry, this phone's not working.
Oh, yeah, it's alright.
Where's your energy man today?
Yay! Well,
Vice Chair of Robin Hood Energy.
Oh, thank you. Well done. Good. You've done good stuff.
Okay,
in Nottingham.
we should head off.
Bosses, the transport is really good. Very impressive.
And Robin Hood Energy.
Can we have one with Unite?
No, really impressive what you've done.
We'll get started. Sorry.
I really appreciate it.
We'll head out this way.
We often quote you as an example. Thank you.
Buddy, if they go round like over.
My pleasure.
Maybe.
Thank you.
Keep talking to those hearts and minds around the country like you did in 2017. Wake them up.
That's right.
They're there to be woken up.
I know.
This is what we think in Nottingham about some advice.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'll have a look at
Hope
it
you
again.
can read my writing. It was written on my leg about
It's better,
half an hour ago.
It's better than my writing.
It's done from my heart and mind.
Okay. Thank you.
Stay with Andy.
Thank you so much.
Where's it going?
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
Thank you.
Ah, nice
Thank
picture.
you.
Thank you. Of course you can, yeah, as they're going by, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Of course you can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Let's win it, eh?
Yeah. Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy, Poets
Thank
Against Racism, we're in support.
Oh, well done you. Poets Against Racism.
And Poets for Corbyn.
We're all poets, you know. Thank you.
Jeremy, you're amazing. Can I please have a selfie?
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, you're right. Hi. Who's it for? What's your name?
Fish.
Huh? Fish.
Short for goldfish, guess what?
Yeah, I get that. Gold. They are goldfish. Thanks. Hi. How are you? Thank you. Can I shake your hand? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeremy, can we get a picture? My son's voting for the first time in
Good.
selection. You were my first ever MP. I'm from Islington North, but now I'm a nurse.
Where did you live?
In Archway.
Oh, okay.
On just off Hornsey Road. Which, I'm not very good at selfies.
You want to do it the other way around? There you go.
Hang on a mate.
There you are.
There we go. Hang on a mate. You'll have to press it though. You'll have to press it.
There you are.
Sweet. Hi, Jeremy. Thank you.
Multitasking.
Excuse me, Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy.
Your missus, Lincoln.
Jeremy.
I
Can I
love
be very quick,
Nottingham.
I'm afraid, guys.
I'm in the
More
NHS.
campaigning to be done.
Life is what you make it where you move to it. Well done, you.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Thank you.
Take care.
Good luck, Mr. Corbyn.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, get a quick picture.
Thank you.
JC, we're headed this
Thank
way.
you.
Thank you so much.
Mate, someone's just having the phone out.
Wonderful.
Oh, really?
Mr. Corbyn,
Thank you.
think you're one of
What?
We're headed this way, JC.
Cheers.
Thank you. Good luck.
Of course, come closer.
Literally on my way to vote right now. This is good timing.
Oh yeah. Don't lose it. Just
No, wait.
get it in a post. Get it in a post box quickly.
You're about to switch some information there. It's because we're walking. I'll find a place to stand. Sorry.
Jeremy, can you just turn this?
Thanks.
You're an absolute legend. What about
JC, we're walking this way.
Sorry.
Apologies, that is something else.
Okay.
Thank you. Follow this.
Walking this way, JC.
Get that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I give you a magazine?
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Of course, yeah. Thank you.
I already have it.
Okay.
I've not read this one yet. I've been a bit busy.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
We're headed this way. We're headed this way.
Thank you.
On the 12th.
Same here. Just one second.
That's right.
Right, we're heading towards you, JC.
Gotta move it.
If she comes up, changes easy to turn around. If you come this way, if you come this side, we have a chance.
My little girl wants something, so that's why she's pushing me. She's normally really polite. I'm not pushing you, you're pushing me. People are pushing behind me.
Then go over here, JC.
To your left, sir. To your left hand side. Thank you.
Okay, JC over here.
Yep. Jeremy, will you please?
If you just take a step JC.
We'll get there.
Well, we will. He'll be okay.
You'll get there.
Shut my children in assembly.
Angela. JC, okay.
Oh, sorry. No problem, thank you.
Okay, looking at
Wait till I tell my pupils at school.
Sorry. Very soon.
Time to study hard.
I know, I'll show you in assembly. Thank you so much.
Can my daughter get a picture? Just about campaigning here. I don't want to back to a bit more space. Did I just give you Dan, we're just going to do a brush pass.
Okay. It says young
lady here. Yeah. You're all right.
Wonderful.
Are you okay?
She's all right. Are you okay?
Everyone take a step back, give us a bit more room, please.
Folks, just take a step back, please. Thank you. We've got youngsters here.
Just 1 second. She's on inset day, by the way. Yeah? She's on inset day. We didn't put her out of school for this. We're not judging.
JC, quick photo there.
Jeremy.
Thank you.
Jeremy.
To your left, sir.
This way.
Young lady.
Hello.
She's not bumping off. She's got an inset day.
It is an inset day today, isn't it?
It's an inset day. Thank you.
Get in there. You just asked the question was Robin Hood. Well done.
We're hoping to seize an opportunity. We give us a little bit more space. Everyone can give a bit
step back,
more
please.
Space. Take a step back.
170% increase in increase in drug-related deaths since 2010. We have a service literally that road, an opportunity for you to take a full opportunity, highlight this 130% drug-related death increase. If it was anything else, it'd be a national disgrace. You know, and it's all, and the lives of the people we see, the vulnerable people we work with, the benefit system stacked against them, the housing stacked against them, the opportunity against them, even simple things like prison. You come out of prison, you used to come out to a home, now you can be released homeless. What do they expect is going to happen? And then if you come out and you're forced onto universal credit, so you've got no benefits, nowhere to live, and you re-offend. Surprise, you know. But it's a chance to highlight that. I think we are literally just round the corner.
Our schedule is a bit too tight.
Okay.
So give us some details.
Paddy Tipping knows us well. So talk to Paddy. He knows the service well. It's an opportunity. And you're doing a great job. And a lot of votes.
If we give a bit more space, please. We just need to.
That's the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
Never be afraid to wear this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for being here. Sorry about being a bit cold, but this is what we're.
Thank you. We just took fresh powder on TV and they're going to say, and we're giving away too much. I love this one.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hello there.
Nadeem again. Can you remember?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, Jeremy, we've got you back. We're supporting you 100%, but what we ask you is to fix Nottingham Labour, because they don't represent the party the way you do. Respect to you, Nadeem Azam. Okay. Yeah? At Alex Norris, he knows who I am. I stop young people dying on the streets, mate. Yeah?
Thank you.
Good. Remember me.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah?
Quick play with these.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So great to see you.
Hello again. How are you?
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
Third time in 2 weeks. Just one question we've got related to Robin Hood.
Can you send me that? Why have I shaken this bag? Look. Where's Kalina? I spoke to him about how his sermon we have actual physical he just go inside. He was like smiling at us. He was like, hey, oh gosh. We were like,
Yes, we can! Yes, we can! Yes, we can!
Get substitute if you can. He's going to get head that way through.
Hello there, you're right. How are you doing? You're right. Lovely to see you.
Yes, Jeremy!
We're going to take you to all our rallies, yeah?
I'll be here as Corbyn.
Jeremy, words to describe a Labour government.
Perfect and perfect!
Fair and just will bring hope to people.
Yay! You know what I am? Better words. Go on. I'm done. So perfect and perfect. So good to you. Let's squeeze through after you.
Mine didn't like Damien then. I don't care about photograph. I had one 2 years ago.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You never rang me back. And I'm trying to get you. Yeah, you haven't.
Just clear away, please. We're just walking out this way.
Got it.
Dan, go ahead, mate. Jeremy, good work. Jeremy, keep forward, mate.
My grand.
Just try and keep ahead.
Oh, lovely.
Come over here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Subdued around here.
Sorry. Which side are you in?
Sorry. Please.
Just give a bit more space for walking.
Excuse me, guys.
Okay, we're walking up this way, so if you just clear the way, that'd be great.
Excuse me, guys.
If you stand aside.
Cool people in the
So just watch yourself.
Thank you very much. Steve, you have to stay this side. Yeah. There you go. Fucking hell, mate. Sorry, fella. Sorry, okay. Thank you very much. Thanks very much, sorry.
We're going this way.
Jeremy, all the best.
Hello, Peter. Just win. Okay, we're going around this side.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Cheers. Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Who do they want bringing? Oh, sorry.
Marcus, just come in, Marcus. Marcus, come in here. Some people coming across now. Yeah.
Are we done?
Yeah.